Hey there, friends. Welcome to 2021. This is January 3rd. Now, I've debated about putting this video off until more developments on the world scene, but you know what? There's a million bloggers and YouTubers covering like current events. I try to keep it somewhat zoomed out. Like when I write about racism and stuff, it's not usually in direct response to like what happened last night and that kind of stuff. Although here in Portland, Oregon, where this is coming from, when we were having some high drama earlier this year, I did some blog posts that were kind of like up to the minute, but I really don't feel like, in general, blog posts and YouTubes, I meant to say, I don't really feel like this YouTube is not current events, really. It is, I reference current events, like I'm talking about all that stuff, but it's not like breaking news. Let's put it that way. So I'll just relax and maybe talk a little bit more about that world stuff. But let's look here at some tutoring that went on today. This is just me talking with a very talented young person, and we're going over like the basics of Python. Today we were doing a lot with the yield keyword generator, right? For generators, like yield is special in Python. It's like returning, but you don't lose memory of where you're at in the script. It's kind of like hold that thought, and then when you come back to them later and say, okay, continue, you don't actually use that word, you use the word next. But it has the same effect of starting up right where you left off and continuing, which may mean going around in a loop and stopping again. Every time you hit a yield, you have to stop and yield something, right? We've talked about this before on this channel. And then I show us iterating over, say, polyhedrons. And here I'm using a tuple of tuples. And that's what I wanted to mention is that, you know, as we grow up in middle school, we're looking still at integrating our content. So if we can get our whole number volume polyhedra just playing the role of a data structure, and we want to sort either on the name of the polyhedron or the volume, which is the second element there, then we can use what's called a lambda expression and so on. So you guys may already know this. Some of you watching, this is like, you know what I'm talking about. For others, it's like, what are you talking about? Either way, the point is I can dovetail inside of like kind of everyday mathematics. Here we're generating successive digits of pi using a generator. Here we're generating successive prime numbers using a generator. Here we're doing Fibonacci. So those scripts are all on the left. And then on the right, interactively, just to play around, okay, so there's the Fibonacci numbers coming out. That's just running the programs here. Playing with what's on the left over on the right conversationally and showing off what a generator can do, right? Generate the prime numbers and so forth. And integrated into all this seamlessly are the whole number volumes, right? So you would have like a tetrahedron with a certain amount of water filled in, and it's calibrated edgewise, and you would show by tipping this tetrahedron in front of the class how 2 times 3 times 4 equals 24. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 4 is 24, volume 24. If the edges, right, this thing's pointing up, pick any 3 edge links and multiply them together. Close the lid, and that's your volume. And you're thinking, well, that's not part of Common Core. Where did you get that? And it's like, well, I did my homework. I read American literature, and I got it from American Transcendentalism. That's where I could go back to Facebook here. I'll just end with this new biography of Margaret Fuller, an American Transcendentalist and grandnephew of Bucky Fuller, right? So let's go. Wait, I don't have Facebook open. That's amazing. You would think I would, right? So let's scroll down to that. Oops, and I'll show you. You can probably get it for like $10 on your Kindle, but also it's available as an ebook in the library, perhaps, right? That's where I'm going to be looking. I just haven't gotten it yet, right? So I'm still thinking about um, my schedule, what I'm going to be doing. Like I'm joining a bunch of meetups coming up here. I'm like on the meetup circuit. So maybe I'll read the book on Margaret Fuller shortly. But let's get to it here. Almost there. Shoe on head. Hi there. Onwards, 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 onwards. Wittgenstein. Oh, yes. We're going to talk about him in connection with Gestalt switches and stuff, courtesy of Chris Fernley and company in a very near future. So I'm signed up for this particular meetup of the Greater Philadelphia Thinking Society, and we're going to look at connections between a writer named Zwicky, Jan Zwicky, who's into Gestalt psychology, Experience of Meaning 2019, and connections between her and Wittgenstein, and in the case of us Bucky scholars, all the Gestalt shifts or switches that may be involved in coming to see the tetrahedron in the way I just showed you, as unit volume, but also with very simple edge lengths of 2 radii or 1 diameter. So it's going to take kind of a illumination or enlightenment experience in some cases to really see why we spend time with our whole number volumes, right? What I started out with what I have already seamlessly integrated into my curriculum. You've watched me do it over the years with this channel. I keep coming back and showing you the materials I'm using to promulgate, the Bucky stuff. And here we are in 2021, and I feel like I'm sitting on top of something that works. It's pretty much done. And of course, I can keep elaborating, but it's already working. It's already working the way it is now. So here it is. The Transcendentalist 2021 group is where this comes from. And we've got a really good bio, see more, of Margaret Fuller here summarized. And then the book itself, Margaret Fuller. Let's go to a link. And here we have a whole website devoted to this book. Now, again, this is the great aunt of Buckminster Fuller. And what we're talking about in this channel a lot is the American Transcendentalist movement as we could plot it onwards through our own time, which is traditionally not done. It's tied off usually. It's like, oh, that was a bunch of writers back then in Boston and so forth, Emerson being an anchoring character, and then we stop, right? It's not a lineage that keeps on coming down to our own time, but I think we can fix that. I think we have a really good case with No More Secondhand God and Bucky Fuller's sort of deist language that we can link it directly to sort of Northeast American mysticism, you could call it. Sort of transcendentalism is a good category. Anyway, that's all the literature talk you need for now, and we'll continue with this material in the near future. Hang in there, folks. See you over the next few months.